Welcome to the Witch House. Pull up a chair, have a sit, and let's chat. And tonight, I am talking about doing a VR to my best buddy Simon over at the Hermit's Cave for his Get to Know Your Tarot Tubers A to Z. So, I have been procrastinating on doing this video, and I'm not sure why. But tonight, I'm going to bite the bullet, and we're going to do it. All right? Okay. So, here we go. A. H. Okay. I am 55. B. Book. My favorite book. I don't know that I actually have a real favorite book. I have adored books since I was young. I was an only child, and so I spent a lot of time reading fiction, nonfiction, biography, poetry, history, just all the things. And I really couldn't pick just one single book that was my favorite. I love them all. What can I say? Career you wanted to be when you were a kid and what it actually is now. So the career I wanted as a kid is I wanted to be a singer like my aunt and continue on the family musical tradition. Music has always played heavily in my family, especially on my mother's side of the family. Her dad had his own big band, and occasionally he would actually play with Glenn Miller. And that kind of went down to his children. Now, my mom always just wanted to be a wife and mother, but her sister and her brothers were into the music business. And so they had a group for well on 50 years. But I wanted so badly to be a singer. And this, you have to understand, was in the 70s. And my hopes were dashed because my aunts and uncles wouldn't let me even practice. They didn't even want me out in the garage when they were rehearsing. And that really hurt me. And since then, I have stage fright. So performing for me is no longer, hasn't been an option in years. So what I did was the safe thing, which my mother suggested, is I became an executive secretary. Because at that time, the administration field was huge. Everybody had a secretary. If you were anybody, you had a secretary. So that's how I started. I did 20 years as a secretary. And then they decided that, secretaries aren't all that. And they pretty much, for the government anyway, which is where I work, said, yeah, we don't need you. We're going to make the bosses do their own administrative stuff. So, yeah, and I had to find another job. And luck has it, there was a job open that required absolutely no knowledge, no experience whatsoever, and they would take you and teach you everything you needed to know. And so I got the job. And so now I do things like move fuel and food and equipment and spare parts and things for the military. Okay, that was a little tangent. Dream. Okay. The only dream I've really ever had is to go to England. I have always wanted to go to England. I find the country beautiful. The history is fascinating. I am English on my father's side. I'm German on my mother's side, but I've always been drawn to England and everything that there is there, from the architecture to Sherlock Holmes. I'm a huge Holmesian fan, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and so I want to go to England. E, essential item. So my essential item are my rings. I have had this ring for 30 plus years. And of course, I have my memorial ring for Andy. And then this one I just picked up, and it's just gorgeous. So yeah, my rings are an essential item. I feel absolutely naked and vulnerable if I don't have them on. So yeah, believe it or not, that's scarier to me than not having my cell phone. Yeah. Favorite RWS deck? Well, of course, I have to agree with quite a few of us who are going to talk about this one. I don't think I've used this deck, and I can't tell you how long, especially since I found out it went out of print. So yeah, it's a cherished deck for sure. Gold or silver? Obviously silver. For some reason, I don't know. Gold has just never flipped my switch very much. It's always been about silver. So, height. I am 5'1". So I think I'm shorter than Becca. If you can imagine that. I think she's got a half an inch on me. So, ideal day. Oh, gosh. You know, I think an ideal day for me would be to be someplace tropical. I loved Hawaii, even though it was hot as F. But to be someplace tropical on the beach and have a wonderful, healthy, fresh breakfast, and then, you know, maybe do a little shopping, walking around, again, a nice, healthy lunch, and then maybe, you know, I don't know what else to do in the in-between periods, but, you know, a lovely dinner and maybe some dancing in the evening and you know, then calling it a night. That would be wonderful. I would love that. Okay, funniest joke. I'm not one for jokes. My uncle was the best joke teller. Oh my God, he had so many of them. And I could never remember them. But there was only one that stuck in my head. And it's probably not appropriate for today's age, but you know what? I'm going to tell it anyway. So somehow, 3 people get stranded on a desert island. And it's a Japanese guy, a Frenchman, and an American. And they're all stranded on this deserted island, so they think. But then cannibals show up. And so the cannibals say, we're going to eat you. And we're going to build a canoe from your skin. And so, you know, he's the head guy looks at the Japanese guy and he says, do you have any final words? And the Japanese guy says, Harikai! And he takes his sword and he runs himself through and he kills himself. So then they go to the French guy and they say, do you have any last words? And he pulls out a pistol and he goes, Vive la France! Pooh! And blows his brains out. So then they get to the American and they ask him, do you have any last words? And the American pulls out a fork and he goes, screw your canoe! I don't know. I find it funny every time I say it. Using a fork to poke holes in his skin. I mean, that's the only joke that ever stuck with me. So, there you have it, as bad as it was. And I do not have a good delivery. So, okay, kids. Not only no, but hell no, fuck no. If y'all have listened to my videos, you hear me bitch about them heathens outside. Living arrangements. I live by myself except with Miss Baker, who happens to not be around, which is weird. Favorite Marseille deck. My favoriteest Marseille deck is the Tarot Noir. This is such a freaking luscious deck. I don't think I've only had it out of the box a couple of times. I thought I would have heart failure when I watched Kelly Bear, what she did to the deck. But it works for her. And that's wonderful. That's what it's all about, if it works for you. So, good on you, Kelly. Nicknames. All right. My family was also known for nicknames. Again, my grandfather. You weren't a part of the family unless you had a nickname. So it's like my Uncle Jim was Jim by Jitty Bow Sticks. My Uncle Gary was Froggy with a G. Strange names. My mother Sherry, was Sherry the Swiss cheese box mouset. So when I came along, I don't know why they didn't get inventive, but they didn't. My grandfather just said, Jennifer is too long a name for such a tiny baby, and they called me Jeffers. Yes, Jeffers. Jeffers. Or you can call me Jeff. Now, for years, can you imagine how difficult it was when I actually went to work? I mean, supervisors would actually tap me on the shoulder because I didn't recognize my own name when they called Jennifer. But if anybody hollered Jeff, I'd turn around in 2 seconds. And a lot of times I still do today. So I have that nickname for my grandfather. And then my mother, for some reason, came up with, Dieters. Yes, Deters, Dieters. And the family still calls me by that as well. So there you go. Jeff and Dieters. Oracle. Oh, Oracle. Do I have it out? I do. Hold on. Because this is a deck in my mess. If you guys could see what the table looks like. Okay, so Healers of the Earth Oracle. I never put this deck away. This deck is always out. It not only helped me through my grieving process, but anytime I need any kind of healing work, this is the deck I come to. Absolutely love it. It's got the wonderful gilded edges where it does not flake off. It's just wonderful. You use the backs as well as the front. So, yeah, this is my absolute all-time favorite Oracle deck is Healers of the Earth. So there's that. Okay, passionate about. What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about a lot of things. I don't like animal abuse. I don't like any kind of injustice. I don't like racism. I don't like liars. I don't like dishonesty. There's just tons of things in this world I don't like, unfortunately. Quote. I don't really have a quote. I've never found a quote. There are tons of quotes out there in the internet sphere, but none that really have stayed with me and spoken to me that hard. So, relationship status. I am a widow and I'm not looking. If it happens, I'm open because that's something that my Andy and I talked about. But I am not actively looking. Season. Oh, there she is. She just finished having a snack. So now she's going to tell us about it. Season. Oh, yeah, season. Autumn. I love autumn. The colors of autumn, the oranges and browns and burgundies. And although we don't really see that here in California very much, unless you go north into the woodlands, I just love it's cool, but it's not wintry cold, and it's not hot summer. So autumn is perfect for me. Tarot, first and last. So I did not have an affinity for the RWS when I first started, the original. So I got Tarot of the Cat People. This is the deck I started with, and I absolutely adore this deck today. It's still one of my favorites and gives absolutely wonderful readings. So, totally love this deck. My last deck is this one, the Button Soup Tarot. So, I haven't unboxed it yet. This is my newest Kickstarter. So, keep your eyes peeled. Coming soon. Let's see. What upsets me most? Lots of things. I think I mentioned that in the Passionate About. I think I might have got those two mixed up. But anyway, yeah, just a lot of things that upset most of us around here if you have any kind of heart in you. So, vlog. Which are you most proud of and which is your most popular? So, the one I'm most proud of is the one that started my conversation on death and grief. Surprisingly, that wasn't the top video. It was close. It was up there. But it wasn't the top video. But that's the one I'm most proud of, is taking that step forward to start the discussion, to get it out there, to start talking about death and grief and how to work through the issues and what to do and all of those kinds of questions. And which is my most popular? Surprisingly, my most popular video was when I did a side-by-side comparison of Tarot of the New Vision with the Vice Versa Tarot. I got like 3,500 views on that. So, yeah. Weakness. Food. Yep. Food. I am a former binge eater and emotional eater, and sometimes I can still be emotional. But it's much better than it was in recent years. So I'm grateful for that. X-rated. Tell us something naughty you've done. I'm really, despite the fact that Andy and I were lifestyle BDSM mistress and submissive, which seems, pretty much ordinary these days. So I think the naughtiest thing I did was I was divorcing my first husband. But as a kindness to him, here we go, I'm going on a tangent. As a kindness to him, I told him I would live in the same house for a year until he got on his feet, because he was getting out of the military. And so I said I would do that. And the deal was we dated who we wanted to, but we never brought anyone back to the house. So one night, enlisted club, pick up a sailor, right? And you go find the nearest place you can park and have a little fun. Well, stupid me, not mind you, well, I'm young. I'm in my mid-20s, 26, 27 maybe. And dumb me doesn't even think about it, but I park where there's a utility building. Figured nobody be looking there, right? Right? So things are getting hot and heavy, and all of a sudden my driver's side door opens. Oh my God! Yeah, didn't lock the doors. Oh my God. So yeah, the police right there. So I was like, oh my God, and so the officer asks us for ID. I produce my ID, and my fella gives me his driver's license. And as I'm passing it, I'm looking at the date, and I'm like, you're 18! He told me he was 21. Yes, told me he was 21, 18. So, yes, I was naughty. I was a naughty 27-year-old with an 18-year-old. So there. Fortunately, we weren't cited and we were allowed to just dress and leave. Okay, yesteryear. Your favorite year so far and why? I can't pick just one year. And that's because, I reflected on this question quite a lot over the last few days, thinking about doing this video. And it seems to me like every year that I suffered a tragedy, the next portion of the year was quite good afterwards. So I never really had what I would call a full on good year. It's always been a mixture of both for me. Who knows? Maybe 2020 is my good year. That's the only thing I can think of right now. So, and then my last one, Zen. What do you do to relax and stay calm? My home is my sanctuary. I come here and I can just relax. And then I have Baker, and she is just a love and a fantastic companion. And just to be able to, sit with her and pet her and watch TV is just really nice. And that's kind of my Zen. Just being in my own home is nice. So there you go, guys. You got Jennifer Ball, A to Z. So with that, I wish you much chakra love, and I'll see you on the next one.